Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a new episode of the Metal Meltdown. Now, before we get started, two quick little announcements for you. First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone who tuned in to our Heavy Metal Super Smash Bros. Tournament and St. Patrick's Day party. If you missed the stream, don't worry, we're already planning another one for some time in April, and of course you can always watch all of our older streams in the archives on this channel. And second announcement, I just did a video with Quest for Metal, and we talked about some amazing death metal records from In Flames, Autopsy, Asphyx, Horrendous, Beyond Creation, Venom Prison, Morbid Angel, and so many more. It is also simultaneously one of the most chaotic videos the two of us have ever made together, which is saying a lot because our videos individually are usually pretty chaotic. Occasionally informative, mind you. We get the job done. But still absolutely chaotic as fuck. So check that out. Or don't. Your fucking prerogative. Either way, let's talk about this brand new EP from the one and only Serj Tankian. Serj Tankian, the hyper-political and provocative Armenian singer-songwriter and legendary lead singer for System of a Down, is back with a brand new solo EP entitled Elasticity. And this is a very interesting release for a number of reasons. For one, it is his first solo album in nearly 8 years following 2013's Orca. Second, it is also his first release following a slightly controversial collaborative effort with Jimmy Urine from Mindless Self-Indulgence entitled Fucktronic, released just last year. But easily the most fascinating thing about this album is that it's comprised of material that wasn't penned for a Serj Tankian solo EP. It was penned initially for a System of a Down reunion record. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, every single song on this EP was intended for a brand new System of a Down album. An album that, at this point, I have to assume will never come to fruition. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, and the two charity singles that System of a Down released officially last year are a sign that in some alternate universe, I may very well be wrong. But in this universe, right now, it looks like I'm unfortunately correct, which means that this EP is the closest that we may ever get to a brand new System of a Down record. And honestly, after listening to Elasticity, I can't tell if that's especially disappointing or a genuine belief, because as much as I might like to eventually see a new System of a Down record, based on the material I'm hearing on this EP, I'm not exactly in a rush to hear it. This EP isn't by any stretch terrible, but it definitely lacks the energy, the enthusiasm, the cutting edge that System of a Down so consistently had at their disposal. It's not as angular, it's not as provocative, it's not as poignant, and it's most certainly not as catchy, though it certainly does try to be, often to its detriment. The track Your Mom is a fantastic example of everything I'm talking about. This track is trying so hard to be so radical and so provocative that it just kinda looks pretentious and a little hilarious. If this song were to be made into a human being, I am certain that that human being would be a literal child with no actual knowledge as to how politics and the real world truly work. I mean, for God's sakes, much like an actual child, it just kind of throws around a bunch of ableist slurs and your mom jokes in an attempt to trigger you and get some cheap rise out of you. The title track as well just feels kind of aimless for me. It's a lot of weird keyboards and vocal effects for the sake of weird keyboards and vocal effects. It sounds less like System of a Down and more like the B-52s trying to write a System of a Down song. There are a couple of moments where Serj does kind of hit the nail on the head, though. The closing track, for instance, Electric Caravan, does actually feel like something that, in theory, could be on a System of a Down record. It is a lot more tonally and aesthetically competent and cohesive. The lyrics are a lot more interesting. The song is a lot heavier sonically as well, though not quite as complex or triumphant as I would personally expect. The same can honestly be said for How Many Times, even though it's not quite as strong as Electric Caravan. Though my favorite track on the EP would probably be Rumi. It's a much more personal and contemplative ballad-like cut penned in the name of Serj's son, Rumi Tankian. It's very simple, but genuinely kind of heartfelt. I like this idea of Serj penning a letter to his son, essentially asking him to think for himself and do what he feels is right and to create a better world than what Serj is leaving him. That's kind of powerful and thought-provoking and clever. Especially with Serj's vocals, I mean, his particular style has consistently been a very hit and fucking miss style. No arguing otherwise, but he really kills it on this particular track. This is definitely not the most consistent thing that Serj Tankian has ever released, and definitely a sign that if this were indeed a System of a Down record, it would not be the triumphant return that so many of us have hoped for. It would be more on par with something like Fear Inoculum from Tool, or dare I say even Chinese Democracy from Guns N' Roses. Although, in Elasticity's defense, it is definitely a much better produced and fleshed out package in comparison to Fear Inoculum and Chinese Democracy. And to be entirely fair, the EP as a whole is pretty solid. It's cohesive, it's coherent. I'm really not a fan of the track Your Mom, but hey, that's still 4 to 5 songs that are pretty decent, so I would feel comfortable giving this a 3 out of 5. If you have been seriously craving some brand new System of a Down, you might be a little disappointed by this. In fact, I could picture some people arguing that this is a little bit of a cock tease, and you are kind of right to some extent, but if you're just coming into this looking for some weird songs and some funky choruses and some strange vocals and something that aesthetically is similar, if not entirely the same, you should enjoy this. I don't really see why not. The foundation for a genuinely semi-decent System of a Down record is here, most certainly, inarguably. It is a genuine shame that System of a Down did not want to follow through on the expectations for a brand new record. It's a shame that they did not want to build on this foundation, but props to Serj for putting it out there anyway, and for trying to put his own personal spin on some of these songs. And who knows, maybe if this turns out to be a genuine hit, System of a Down will finally buckle down and make something. Anything. I don't fucking know. Regardless of what happens, this EP, it's decent. It's not the triumphant return to System of a Down glory that so many of us might have hoped or dreamt of, but that doesn't make it any less of a decent record. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be, so what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.